How's that, Big Steve?
Shout out Michael Bisbin, right? UFC Nashville after the break. We're going to talk about the betting locks on the UFC card. Feels good. Always feels good to be back to UFC betting, especially after PFL MENA and PFL Europe being the only things you could bet on, right? So let's get into it. I'll quickly break down my recap. It's going to be fuck all, really. I had like one parlay that made me sick, and then we'll move on to the bets that I have. And yes, I do have bets on UFC right away. Alrighty. So PFL MENA, I mean, just, PFL Arabia, whatever you want to call it. I pretty much just parlayed Al Hassat, Benkasi, Al-Akra, which I thought would be sweaty, and it was, and Al Dafrawi. 3 out of 4 of them won by finish. 2 of them won in under a minute, and Al-Akra, however the hell you pronounce his name, he won in 29-28, but he also had the best opponent. So I put a unit on, or just under a unit, $450 to win $430. On the 4-leg parlay, they're all under $1. The best was like $1.30 on Bekauti, but just super, super square stuff. I went to bed thinking, you know what? One of these guys is going to bust my parlay, and I'm just going to deserve it. But it didn't. They all won. So, yeah, won $500 there. Other than that, this card was honestly better than PFL Europe. Like, I really liked Abska, the Honey Badger. I thought he's fought much better level of opposition. He fought Ali Taleb twice. He's got some good submissions. He's got a baseball choke, no gi. And, this Ali Yazbek, 5-0, has a lot of split decisions, close fights. So I didn't really get it at Pick'em. And even my boy Pepe played him. And I don't know why I talked myself out of it. I was generally more aggressive recently, but I just passed on that one. And the other one is Ami Fazli versus Rasta Makman. We all know Rasta Makman. He always fights with a turtleneck in the octagon. And he was in the UFC, got knocked out a bunch of times, very chinny. And I thought Amir was very live to kill him. It was Pick'em the whole time. And then Akman went to minus 200, and I was like, I'll get it. I get it. People think he's going to wrestle Fazli, who's been wrestled before by Diani and, Alakra, whoever the hell it was. And I was like, but if he wins, it's going to be such a, early knockout, big favorite upside. And, I thought about it for 2 hours, and I came back. I'm like, let's just play this, man. It's clear Pick'em fight. And then he went back to Pick'em. So someone played it massively on Bet Online, and then someone played the other side and went to Pick'em, and I passed. But even at Pick'em, he had value, knocked him out in under 1.5 rounds. That's pretty much it. I'm glad I went a full unit on the parlay. And, my regret is the Honey Badger and, old mate, what's his name? I just forgot. Fazli, right? Not taking advantage. Other than that, pretty much every single favorite one, which is crazy. All right, crazy. You got to expect some upsets. But what are you going to do? All right. PFL Europe, as I said, this was better for betting, and I honestly thought, this is going to be more enjoyable, right? Some ex-UFC veterans, Danny Hot Chocolate, Talalapoulos after just being cut or not being able to agree a contract, Dean Garrett, Zakharov, some of the best regional European guys, right? Gustavo Oliveira was on KSW, he used to fight for the title. Menskini, we've seen him a bunch. But then I taped it, and it was just like pass after pass after pass. I don't have any bets on this, so I don't really know why I'm recapping it. But ultimately, I liked Belghazi. I wasn't really impressed with Salvia, and upon retaping, I'm like, nah, Belghazi is just horrible, and he was making the same mistakes as he was in the first fight he lost. I thought I was going to like Khaled, a world-class Muay Thai guy, fought Rotang and Superlek, and Levi had the grappling path, beat him. I liked Meschini. He broke this Italian guy. That one, kind of regretted that one a little bit. Jan, I didn't even look at these women. Jan, this guy looked okay, but a massive favorite. This one, Anis Azud, a lot of money came in on him. He looked like the better striker. Gustavo looked like an idiot on tape, but he was mostly getting grappled. But he's actually a really solid striker. So striker versus striker, I was like, you know what? Now that all this money's coming on Azun, who was actually knocked out in his last fight as well before PFL, I don't feel that comfortable. I watched Gustavo's karate combat. It's not bad. It's only 27. So I think whoever he fights next, maybe someone can tell me who he's fighting next. He might get taken down. And, he still fights like an idiot, but he's dangerous. He landed a brutal spinning elbow. he landed that same thing in KSW in that fight that he won, but he was getting mauled before then. I liked Safta, but then he went up to minus 200 last second. This one I kind of regret with Campanella, but apparently it was a close fight. Then Garrett, I was going to parlay him. Apparently that was a close fight. I like this dog. Dulgarin lost. Someone tipped Ibrahimov. I should have, taped it. Abayev, I really considered Abayev, but I thought if he doesn't get an early round one knockout, Pedro was going to rinse him. Yeah, just a lot of fights. Lapalus was, a lot of people like Lapalus minus 200, potentially as a parlay piece. I think just playing him straight would have been a good play. But yeah, a lot of these guys, it's hard to get a read on, even though there's tape on him. So yeah, I don't know. Didn't play anything there, but whatever. One measly unit to start the month. Last month last half a year, I did 5,000, 10 units. I'm on 11 units now. This second half of the year is meant to be the big one, unit increase and whatnot. So let's keep on going. The money's going to be made on the weeks where the UFC is on, not PFL Europe and whatnot. If there was totals, it would have been much better. But, Better Line really shafted me there. How could you not have totals on PFL? It's the only promotion in the week. PFL main are like, who cares? But PFL Europe, like, come on, man. You have to have totals. You have to have totals. You have to have props. Anyway, that's it. This is why we're here, the UFC. Let me go through the comments. Big Bird, I'll take Yazbek versus the Honey Badger over half these UFC fights next week. I mean, you can't be wrong there. MMA guy, yo, let's go. Let's go indeed. Lucky team, free locks. Mate, the locks are always free. Unless you're in a Discord, but if you're not, they're going to be free on this podcast, or they're going to be free on Twitter. But yes. Blonde Dog, hey buddy, I'm here for the knowledge and also the locks. What? You're in the right place, my friend. You're in the right place, my friend. All right, let's get to it. So Fatima Klein versus Melissa Martinez. Wow, start off with the chalkiest chalk. Right. I mean, at least we have totals now. Actually, they're surprised that the UFC released totals this early in the week. Right. I do regret not playing the under 2.5 rounds in Fatima's last fight. I do think Dudakova did quite well in that fight to make sure the under happened. She completely gassed herself out, allowed Fatima Klein to finish it. But Fatima Klein was close to finishing a lot of women on the regionals. Right? She's very aggressive with the ground and pound. She's a back taker. But, Melissa Martinez, she is a very, very negative, this one. She's Mexican. You got to assume she's going to be tough. She fights like her brother. She skirts the octagon. She runs away a lot. She was taken down by Elise Reed, so potentially, and she was taken down by Desiree Yanez. So, I mean, again, the under has to be the side, right? Minus 200 on the over. If Fatima Klein gets a hold of you, she's only 24. Like, how much improvement is this chick going to be making fight to fight at only 24 years of age, right? And like, you look at her things, a lot of decisions, but she should have finished a lot of these girls. Sydney Triller, she should have finished Natasha Kuzatina, Andres Romero. Yes. I mean, it's the under or pass. But is Fatima inside the distance going to pay better? Probably not at this chalky line. So we'll see. Mike Davis, Mitch Ramirez. I mean, same thing, right? They're giving Mitch Ramirez borderline UFC level. He might not be UFC level versus Mike Davis. The total, again, the under is where we at? Under 2.5 rounds. Well, but this under is actually minus 200. Wow, that's... Well, you got to make sure this one's right? You can't make the mistake here. He didn't finish Ziam. He finished Natan Levy, but other than that, he didn't finish anyone else. I remember the Borshev fight. My friend played the under 2.5. I did not, thank goodness, because that would have tilted the shit out of me. That's probably one of the fights why people were playing the over in McKenny, right? They thought Slava could survive, but McKenny's built different, lads. McKenny's built different. Took him almost the entire 15 minutes to knock out Thomas Gifford. Sadiq Yusuf's also chinny. He didn't beat him. He didn't knock him out. The man's talented. The man cracks. But Mitch Ramirez, let me have a look. I know Mitch Ramirez seems quite durable. Right, Moises took him down a couple times. Couldn't submit him. Eventually beat him with leg kicks. He's got some power of his own, but Mike Davis is incredibly durable. Carlos Pratos knocked him out. That means nothing. I mean, a minus 200. I'm not rushing to play that one. That's for sure. Maybe submission. I don't know. It's a tough one. Blonde Dog. Gustavo's fighting Mayo. Who the hell is Mayo? Is that a name that I'm not aware of? Mayo. This is going to bother me unless I find it. Meschini. Cool, that's a nickname. Well, let me know who Mayo is, my friend. Six Hound. You can get your Dawood money back fading Natty Ali again here. Dawood. Oh, right. Are we getting rich on ACA this week or what? Look, we might have to. Last ACA was great in terms of reads and an actual winning underdog bet. And the way I'm going, man, I'm pretty much done with this UFC card. The tape was quite easy. I don't envision myself spending too much time on it other than another day or so. And then I got the rest of the week to do boxing. Very busy boxing weekend. There's 2 high-level cards. I might do the top 3 fights on each card. And just move on to ACA. But the issue with ACA is these names I'm not recognizing as much. So more tape needs to be done, and then my reads might be worse. Lucky Tim, you like the under in the Davis fight. At minus 200, man, Davis better come out there with his finishing shoes on. You can get your Dawood money back fading Natty Ali again here. How do we know that Ali is Natty? What makes us think that? Aha, Mahio Campanella, right. He didn't get his hooks in. Gotcha. Oh, man. I mean, Campanella can definitely get knocked out. He's got some striking issues, that's for sure, but he's also got a huge grappling advantage over Gustavo. ACA is getting rinsed this week. Right, MMA guy, this guy right here, he hits openers for $100. You know, no hate, but the man grinds. He loves his ACA and stuff, so got to respect the hustle. Blonde Dog versus Matisse, Irish guy. That's true, he could not. All right, I think Matisse is more Latvian, Lithuanian than it just has an Irish flag. All right, Kennedy and Chukwu, Walter Walker. I mean, what to make of this? Walter Walker, finally Kennedy fights a proper challenge up at heavyweight. He is going to take Kennedy down, in my opinion. Kennedy has been taken down a bunch. You know, Ian Kutalaba took him down in mount. Took him down again in round 2, but he does have great get-ups. All right. Devin Clark, I think, maybe took him down. He was stuck against the cage a lot. Danilo Marquez took him down multiple times, took his back. I played him there at Pick'em. That was years ago now. Again, same thing. I just felt like Marquez will take him down, and eventually he will gas out and get knocked out because Marquez is extremely chinny. But I will say, I was still sweating insanely in that fight because I did not expect 10 minutes of backpack for Danilo Marquez. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen here. Again, Walter Walker, in shape, Walter Walker is a bit different. A lot of people are trying to fade him with Tafa in his last one. I was like, mate, that guy was so fat in the Bresky fight. You know, he's much better than that. He lost like 20 pounds. So we haven't really seen much from Walter Walker outside of 2 quick heel hooks, you know, over like the biggest bums, Tafa and, you know, Dontel Mays, the guy that's already been heel hooked once. So he has 2 heel hook losses in heavyweight, which is just next level. So we don't really know how this fight's going to play out. It's probably going to be a massive mess. You know, Walter Walker might take him down, might land on him. Kennedy, what's he at? 6'5", 83. I think Walter's pretty big as well. 6'6". Wow, Walter's actually taller than Kennedy. So how is Kennedy going to handle that? He looked a bit hittable against Bresky. Yeah, this is a shit show, man. Who's the favorite? I think Kennedy's the massive favorite. Wow. Yeah, this is a live bet fight for me. I am touching this with a 10-foot pole, right, to start off the fight. No interest whatsoever. This is going to be a mess. I mean, not long ago, he lost to Omen St. Preux in a fight with no grappling. Yeah, this is a mess. The under, what's the under? It's 2.5 rounds, right? And it's Pick'em, a little bit better, a little bit worse than Pick'em. I mean, that's got to be the side, right? Walter Walker, I mean, he loves heel hooks. He doesn't have any heel hooks before. He's clearly learned how to do heel hooks. He loves them. If he takes Kennedy down, he's going to try him. Kennedy's going to get on top. Round 2, round 3, that's when usually Kennedy gets his KOs, unless he's fighting these bums like Bresky and Barnett. So yeah, this is a typical live bet. Watch maybe Walter Walker round 1 takedown. See what that pays. Probably will play jack shit since he's hit it in the last 2 fights. So yeah, Kennedy. Let's see Kennedy. Kennedy couldn't really knock out St. Preux, but other than that, yeah, the under 2.5 hits a pretty high clip. Yeah, that's the one. Under 2.5. And Walter Walker, obviously, I think he has some power himself. He's got ground and pound. He's got submissions. Yeah, that's going to be the side. But I do think he's quite durable, Walter Walker. From his regional tape, when I'm taping him for Tafa, he's quite durable. So, we'll see. Lauren Murphy versus Eduardo Mora. Okay, so Eduardo Mora overperformed against Veronica Macedo, and now she's back to being a massive favorite, right? Last time she was a massive favorite like this, she dropped the ball against Anisi Gomez. That was an elite bet. Props to people betting that pre. I bet it live. Gomez was still a massive underdog after, just winning round 1, stuffing all the takedowns. And now she's a massive favorite again. So a lot of recency bias in Eduardo Mora's fights. I get it. What is Murphy? 42? 40, 41. She ate so much shit against Jessica Andrade, but Jessica Andrade has striking, unlike Eduardo Mora. Actually, Eduardo Mora is improving. I think she dropped Hardy in her fight. I haven't rewatched it. And, she sprawled and brawled Miesha Tate. But Miesha Tate repeated that performance against Yana Kunitskaya. It's like, sometimes she looks like Khabib. Sometimes she looks like she does against Lauren Murphy and Yana Kunitskaya. When she gets you down, she's mauling you, but just those entries, this bending over at the hips, just disgusting entries. So obviously it wasn't hard for Lauren Murphy to stuff those, dig the underhooks, and piece her up. Mora's a different kind of wrestler, though. So I am playing this massive chalky line on Mora. I wasn't born yesterday. I was born 32 years ago, actually. Under 2.5 rounds, that's where I'm at. Right. If Lauren Murphy's really washed, it's going to happen. Right. She'll get mauled. But again, insane durability on her versus Jessica Andrade. That was nuts, man. That was nuts. Has anyone even finished the Sijara Eubanks? No. Sorry, man. Wow, pretty impressive resume of not getting finished. Took Valentina Shevchenko almost 4 rounds to finish her. But with Eduardo Mora, you're going to get a lot of top pressure. You're going to get ground and pound. Yeah, it's a lot of question marks. MMA guy, Walter Walker, money line is intriguing, and the other. I agree. This is the toughest guy Kennedy has fought at heavyweight, and even probably tougher than some light heavyweights he's fought recently. Feels like Walker a pass going against some respected action, but got to trust my process, mate. Just ain't no way you can play Kennedy a minus 200. Who is the respected action? Show me the name. If he's my best friend, I will call him out. If he's laid Kennedy minus 200. I guarantee you it's no one I respect. Glimbot 5000. Morning, gentlemen. Morning, sir, even though it's 5 p.m. for me. Alrighty, let's move on. Jake Matthews, Chidi Inchukwani. Haven't done a lick of tape on this one other than a little bit of Jake Matthews versus Rustam Akman, because Rustam just fought on PFL Mania. Just to get a little reminder, shocking fight, nothing happened. Just really sums up how Jake Matthews fights in most of his fights. Like, he should have knocked out Rustam Akman. Just a guy that does nothing. Darius Flowers, whatever, Philip Rowe, really close fight. Francisco Prado, that's like the one time he looked good. I think he won every single round. And now he's fighting Chidi. Chidi's like so old, man, 36, but he's, even though he's dropping down to welterweight, he's still doing well. Knocked out Zaleski, beat the shit out of Gooden, beat Reece McKee, and that's the worst he's looked, honestly. It looked like the weight cut was really tough on him, but he thoroughly shut down Reece McKee. And Reece McKee is quite hittable and quite noodly. I think that's what helped him. He just kept trying to take him down and got eaten up in the clinch. But I don't know. This is the one that I haven't, as I said, I haven't done much tape. This just feels like a very competitive, very hard fight to get a read on. But I see action on both ways. I know respected people that have already played Matthews, $2.20, and I see people that have aggressively played Chitty, and that line is gone down again. So I'm just not really pumped about taping either one of these guys, so we're just going to move on. What's the under? The under, well, set at 1.5. It's a bit silly. I think that might have already moved. Or 2.5. Yeah, these guys are both durable. Chitty usually gets finished when he gasses out, but yeah, I don't think Matthews is going to do much to gas him out. Speaking of fights that I'm not interested in taping, Chris Curtis dropping down to welterweight at 36 years of age versus Max Griffin, who's 40? Max Griffin's 39, close enough. And Chris Curtis is actually 37. Wow, my predictions are pretty close. But, man, who am I to say this is a bad move for Chris Curtis? It worked for Chitty Nchigawani. Got the shit bit out of him by Roman Kopylov. Lost a very rough decision to Brandon Allen. I had him there as a huge underdog. And looked to be winning until he pulled his hamstring and literally gave up the round and gave up the fight at the end of round 5, which is heartbreaking. And yeah, went to a split with Marc-Andre Barriol, which is a red flag. This is just... I get that on the surface level of things, it should be a levels fight because Chris Curtis is ranked and he has competitive fights with Roman Kopylov, Brandon Allen, Kevin Gastelum, knocking out Joaquin Buckley. But from a fight-to-fight perspective, Max Griffin fights close with everyone. He's very durable. He has, competitive fights with Magny, Tim Means, which wasn't really competitive. He won 30-27. Split is just blasphemous. Michael Morales, Jamar Wales, and Michael Chiesa kind of running through him was a bit of a red flag. I did not see that happening. He's never been submitted before. But Chiesa seems to be on another trajectory. Like, towards the end of his career, he's really having fun in there and just doing quite well. But, I mean, Chris Curtis ain't going to take him down and submit him. So, yeah, I mean, what could go wrong with Chris Curtis being a $1.33 favorite? Is Max Griffin's tape that bad that no one's even played Max Griffin as an underdog? But what's going on here? Wild. I don't even have to look at the totals. I know it's going to be juiced to the over. That's right. Worse than minus 200 for over 2.5. Probably has some value. Like, to knock out Chris Curtis, you got to hand out insane amount of punishment on him, or just stiff him. Yeah, I mean, Max Griffin will pass, but this is like the biggest shit show fight. Alrighty, main card. Before we get into the main card and my bets, which all are located on the main card, let's go through the comments. MMA guys, some of the best under spots are when someone takes a shitload of damage and survives and then takes a super long time off and also is 41 years old. Wow, that's very specific, MMA guy. I would have not been able to pick who that was. But lucky you've told me that was about Murphy. Thank you very much for clearing things up. Glimbot, hopefully Chitty decision is decent. Jake super durable. I mean, if you're confident that neither one is going to come close to getting knocked out, just play go the distance. I played go the distance in Prado versus Jake Matthews. I don't usually do those kind of plays. My brain is predicated to playing unders. It's just the way I am as a gambler. And that one was so safe. Like, obviously, Prado ate an ungodly amount of damage. I don't think either Matthews or Chitty are that hittable. So we'll see where the go the distance goes. Alrighty. Junior Tafa versus George Tokkos. So I have 2 units on Junior Tafa. God forgive me. I hate this guy. I thought I played Walker versus him. Apparently I didn't. I remember why I was tilted now. I thought I was tilted because I only played half a unit on Walker. But my dog father friend keeps receipts about all my bets, and he told me I didn't bet Walker. So that's probably why I was upset. And I hate the guy. I hate Junior Tafa, but, he honestly, what this comes down to, he's dropping down to light heavyweight. I didn't really go that in depth, but I'm trying to be more aggressive. So whatever, I put 2 units. I thought about waiting for the under, but I honestly thought the under was going to be a lot worse. I thought, Junior Tafa, he could have beat Muhammad Usman. He won round 1. He lost round 2. He lost round 3, but with 1 minute to go, he got up and he kind of just threw some caution to the wind. And, if he cracked Usman there again, maybe he wins 29-28. He's capable. He has a win outside of 1.5 rounds. He has two wins outside of 1.5 rounds in the regionals. All right. Actually, just one against Kevin Fatai. This last guy, Sean Sharaf, at heavyweight, right? His fight got cancelled against Chris Barnett. And he was drinking. He started drinking. He stopped training. And he took the fight anyway. And that was 15 seconds away from going over 1.5 rounds. But if he didn't, he could have won that fight still. And also, so he's capable. So I just I don't want to play the under 1.5 rounds. And, Tokkos maybe grinds on Junior a little bit. Junior's a lot more patient, a light heavyweight. Gets taken down. He gets up. He calf kicks and, whatever. The money line, if he kills him in round 1, it has value. If not, I think he can win round 2. I think he can win round 3. Tokkos also has insanely bad cardio, right? I don't think his durability per se is the worst. I taped a lot of his entire career, I should say, versus Navajo Sterling, just to see how much money I will put on Sterling inside the distance. This Ty Guarda fight in Bellator at middleweight, the dude is just grinding on him, grappling, not really exerting much. And in round 3, he just dies. Cardio dies, gets clipped with a knee, and just equilibrium's gone and he's dead. Nothing barely hit him. Some of these other fights, he's just barely doing anything. Getting knocked out by Zhang, whatever, doesn't mean anything. This Gabriel Fimoto guy, who's just a massive bum. He's 5'6", journeyman in Brazil. He's not even a light heavyweight. He's just short and fat. Just not much happens. He slows down bad in that one. It's a back and forth war. Brian Jackson, Myron Demis, arm injury. Gets ran through by Umar Sy, which is going to age terribly. And Navajo Sterling, right? So I only bet a unit on Sterling inside the distance because I really hate Sterling's finishing upside, right? I think he overachieved when he landed a brutal knockout on Contender Series. And we've seen subsequently in his debut, couldn't get Tokkos out of there. And he also almost didn't get Ivan Erslan, extremely chilly fighter, out of there. So I only went 1 unit and I went on KO. So that would give me the entire 15 minutes so Tokkos could gas as well, right? If it's not an early KO. And when Old Mate Navajo Sterling rocked him in round 1, I'm like, this is it. There is no way. He's rocked in round 1. He's going to be extremely gassed for rounds 2 and 3. He's getting knocked out here. And Sterling being Sterling, obviously, fucked it up. I hate that guy. And I didn't get involved in his second fight versus Erslan, but it just made me hate him even more watching that fight. Can't wait to fade him. But Junior Tafa, man, say what you will. He's 28. Tokkos is 34. Tafa has wins in the UFC. He has 2. Killed Parker Porter, Sean Sharaf. He could get more wins as well. He just needs to take his career a little bit more seriously. He's going down to light heavyweight. His knockout of Sudario, when he was a decent-sized underdog as well, it was brutal. 1 minute, 38 seconds. He was very patient. He focused on just sprawling and brawling, picking his shots. He's like his brother. When they're patient, when they focus on countering, leg kicking, and delivering brutal uppercuts, they fight very well. The issue is when he hurts someone, he goes apeshit, like against Muhammad Usman. So, I don't know, man. Career's on the line here. He's dropping down. As I said, he's 28. He can only improve. Junior Tafa cannot get any worse. I'm not sure Tuko Tokkos can get any better from what I've seen. At 35 years of age, I watched his entire career. He hasn't done anything in the UFC in his 2 fights. Don't think he's getting any better at 35. He can train harder, but yeah. It's basically one guy's younger, has the athleticism, has the high-level striking, the power upside. Tokkos might grind him out a little bit, might try to grapple him, might try to go for submissions. But if you actually look at Junior Tafa's takedown defense, it's not bad. He stuffed a few of Usman's takedown attempts. He stuffed all of Parker Porter's before knocking him out. He actually stuffed Walter Walker's takedown attempts for about halfway through the round until eventually Walker got him down. But Walker ate quite a few punches. And then again, Walker went for a heel hook, right? Near the end of the fight, he couldn't really pass the guard. That fight would have started on the feet again, round 2. So, again, I didn't go in depth. It just felt like a no-brainer. Junior Tafa has all the finishing upside. At light heavyweight, he's going to be in shape. He's got to be in shape. Two of these fights he barely trained for. Marcos Rogério de Lima was a day fight on 1 day's notice, which we already know. Like, he wasn't even meant to fight. He replaced his brother. And Sean Sharaf, he stopped training when Chris Barnett fell apart. And, he started drinking. And then they said, hey, do you want to fight Sean Sharaf short notice? He's like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. And, he gassed out round 1, but then he came back round 2 and stuffed all the takedowns and knocked them out. So, a long breakdown for a shit show of a fight. Again, God help me, having 2 units on Tafa, but we'll see where this line goes. Again, it's not the most confident fight, but we'll see. We'll see what the vibes are. And I think my main issue here is Tafa actually making weight. But if you go on his Instagram, he's stuffing takedowns. He has a good whizzer. He's working on his grappling and get-ups. So, mate, it's now or never for this guy. Now or never. All right. So we spent a lot of time on that fight, so we don't have to spend a lot on the others. But I do have a bet on Victor Petrino, Austin Lane. I have the under 1.5 rounds. I contemplated this for a long time. Obviously, Victor Petrino hits like a truck. If you watch him in his fights, man, he looks bigger than a lot of the light heavyweights he's fighting. He's gone up a division. I don't think he's going to be a small light heavyweight. I reckon, light heavyweight, pardon me. I reckon this guy's going to be like Kennedy Nchukwu. He's going to go in there 245. That's my prediction, 245 pounds. I think he's going to look like a giant and cut still. I think his chin might be a bit better. Like, he's been cracked by Dustin Jacoby. He was hurt by Bellato before on Contender Series. He was hurt by Anton Turkulaj before. He was also cracked by Marcin Petrino. So I think his chin will be better at heavyweight. It's not bad or anything, only 1 knockout loss. But, yeah, I think how many times Austin Lane has been one-shot KO'd? He's extremely chinny, right? We've got Vernon Lewis on the regionals, Frank Tate, Greg Hardy. We all watched that one on Dana White Contender Series. Just full deaded, out cold. And then Justin Tafa, Jonathan Deniz took him into round 2. And then just recently, this year, Mario Pinto, one overhand right and just deaded. This guy's been deaded so many times. So the issue here is Victor Petrino, has gone over just a couple of times. 1 minute against Rodolfo Bellato in the rematch. The first time he killed him a lot sooner, in about 25 seconds. He went over a minute against Gadzimurov Antigulov, a guy that grappled him. Obviously, Austin Lane is going to try and grapple as well. He went to a decision with Anton Turkulaj, but he hurt him multiple times. He hurt him in round 1, dropped him. Marcin Petrino, he just grappled him, and that's another issue. If he grapples Austin Lane, I went in depth to see how this fight could play out. Austin Lane's not a bad grappler. He gets taken down very, very easy. So if Victor Petrino wants that path, it's going to be easy. He also gets mounted very easy. All right, even this Richard Jacoby, who is a Muay Thai guy by trade, took him down easily and mounted him. And then Austin Lane just bridge and rolled. He's got a very good bridge and roll. He hit it on Juan Adams. He hit on Richard Jacoby. He hits on a lot of these guys, right? If they take him down, easy bridge and roll, and he gets on top. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that with Victor Petrino, who has very good control. He's like a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a black belt as well by trade. So that's the issue. If he wants to take Austin Lane down, he probably can. He probably can sit on him for the entire round, maybe in round 2. It took him way too long to get Marcin Petrino out of there with all that top time. He even went over 2.5 rounds, and he doesn't throw much ground and pound. So that's the issue here. That's the issue. But especially if he gets cracked, Austin Lane can crack as well. And he hurt Pinto on the feet. So if Petrino gets hurt, he's probably going to shoot for a takedown, to be honest. But yeah, just $1.72. Again, I didn't tip it out because the limits or whatever, they're shithouse. $1.72. I just had to do it, man. I had to do it. It gives me Petrino round 1 KO. It gives me a little bit of round 2 KO. Like we've seen him destroy Bukaskis early round 2, and just a bunch of other these guys round 2, where the fight just went over the halfway mark. So not overthinking it. Maybe Petrino KO will play better, but he's a massive, massive favorite. So who knows how much better. You give Austin a little bit of KO upside. So yeah, under 1.5 rounds. Hopefully it's one shot and dead. Hopefully at heavyweight is a murderer. SD, Steve Garcia is a lock. SD again. I want to play Tafa and Garcia, but I can't trust Tafa. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of recency on that fight, right? It's hard to trust Tafa. But can you trust Tokkos more? Think about it, lads. Victor Petrino, possibly Gilly Lane if he shoots when hurt. Has Vito ever gone for a Gilly? I'm sure he has. But not many people have tried to take Vito Petrino down. The Pleasure Man has, and he took him down, took his back multiple times. And actually, Rodolfo Bellato did too, but he just powers out of it and gets on top. So I wish Petrino threw more ground and pound. That's the issue with this guy. He doesn't throw ground and pound. I don't want him just to sit on top of Austin Lane, because Austin Lane's a survivor on the bottom. Alrighty. Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charrier. I thought the first thing that popped out here is Nate Landwehr has some value, right? $3 something underdog. Morgan Charrier, he usually has a very, very good round one, then falls apart. I bet him against Nathaniel Wood. I hated that bet. Shit bet. I got like the worst line as well. Ended up closing Pick'em. Nathaniel Wood hurt him in the first round, and after that, he just could not recover. He just didn't want to be. He did not want to be hit. He is very durable. It kind of reminds me of the Paul Hughes fight. Paul Hughes really busted him up. He's always very hittable, but no one really punishes him. But obviously, someone that hits very hard can punish him. So I think Nate Landwehr can hurt the man. Choi. I bet Choi versus Nate in the last one. It was plus 210, plus 110. And a lot of people playing Nate, thinking he could break Choi, but I'm like, man, Choi's so sharp on the feet. And we know Nate is chinny. Again, Morgan's going to probably start out hot. Nate's going to be hittable again. Like every round one, Nate goes through some shit. Jamal Emmers was putting it on him. Then Ige dropped him in every round. Lingo won round one. David and I almost killed him. Julian Rosa killed him. So it's just one of those. Do you want to lie bet it instead? But I think the pressure that he's going to put on Morgan Charrier won't like it. He won't like it one bit, but I'm just holding off a bit. Nate's 37. Let's just see where Morgan is, but I'm not a fan of Morgan, man. Like, again, a lot of people playing him against Chepe Mariscal. I just couldn't do it. Just how close he fights. And obviously, Chepe is very durable, more durable than Nate. But I think Nate is more dangerous than Chepe. So, dog or pass, man. Dog or pass. Bit of a shit show of a fight. Glimbot, Nate from Tennessee and 37, possibly a retirement fight, maybe. Yeah, I don't want to assume that someone's retiring just because he's fighting in his hometown. So, maybe, but maybe not. Either way, we'll see. What's the under here? The under here, under 2.5 rounds is plus money, right? Nate's fights generally go under, but Morgan Charrier is very, very durable. Nate Landwehr has finished durable guys before, and he's been finished himself many times. So, yes. More in-depth stuff needs to be checked out. All right, SD, I think Morgan wins the decision. That's a fair call. Kevin Qatar, Steve Garcia. All right. A lot of people I know have played Kevin Qatar. Obviously, the line is now trending towards Pick'em. It's Pick'em in some places. It makes sense. It's, a guy that's in the ranking. I think Qatar is still in the ranking. He probably should not be after being on a 4-fight losing streak. But honestly, Qatar, I'm not that impressed with him. I haven't been impressed with him in a long time. I played him versus Josh Emmett in a 5-rounder. I played Josh Emmett versus him. And I know a lot of people are saying, Josh Emmett just throws an overhand right. Qatar has better cardio. It's a 5-rounder. He has a jab and whatnot. And just taping his fights, I'm like, Qatar is not that good, my friends. He just has the jab. And he's always been hittable. He's always been easy to shut down if you calf kick him, you stick and move. And whatever people say, Josh Emmett lost that fight clear, but it was close enough to not warrant a minus 240 on Qatar. That was in 2022. I had a big bet on him versus Dan Ige as well, and he won 4 rounds to 1, but he was still getting hit. Ige broke his nose in round 2, and just after that, injured against Arnold Allen. Sterling just mauled him. Zalal just did his thing. Whatever, it was kind of competitive, but he's just very old, man. 37. His last win was Giga Chikadze, who had like 2 minutes of cardio. I didn't bet that but after 2 minutes, I just bet a big bet on Qatar live. And then round 2, after Giga was just like kicking him a couple of times, he jumped up to pick him, so I bet again. But that's not a good win, man. Giga's just a 5-minute cardio merchant, and that's it. If that wasn't a 5-rounder, and even then, Qatar could not get him out of there. The corpse of Giga, he could not get him out of there. So, yeah, now that the money has come in, like I get, Steve Garcia might be a little bit chinny. Like we've seen the man almost get deaded by Charlie Nurenbeki. Obviously, he got deaded by Mahashat. And he was extremely aggressive in the Mahashat fight, and he said he came in with a shoulder injury and a bunch of other things. So he said he needed a quick finish. He wasn't going to be able to go 3 rounds. Obviously, he was hurt by Charlie Antiveros. He was backpacked by Luis Pena. We've seen him get back by Carl Nelson in the last one, so clearly has an issue with that grappling still, right? Kevin Qatar took down and backpacked Giga in the first round, and that gassed him out. But Steve Garcia doesn't have bad cardio, right? The guy's all systems go for 3 rounds. He still tried to kill Luis Pena in the third. He was just an idiot. I think everyone's talking about Qatar's durability, but he always has been hittable. That's the issue. And Steve Garcia, in my opinion, can kill anyone, right? Killed Chase Hooper, who's durable. Nolan Baker, not so much, but he hurt him to the body and finished him. Melky Costa, how is that fight aging now? Melky Costa is durable and quite durable, in my opinion. Ran through him, obviously used some ground and pound. Sungwoo Choi, whatever. That was the easiest under 1.5 rounds in my entire life. I can't believe that wasn't minus 800. I kind of felt scared for that fight, how it was going to play out, but I mean, really, I don't know why. And then Kyle Nelson, I think he's relatively durable too. And after he got out and got backpacked, he just broke him. So it just feels like one guy is 33 while the other one is 37. And, because he's very durable and he just jabs and he's the toughest guy Steve has fought in a bit, people are just playing him. But I don't know, man, just betting on these guys that are so washed. I feel like Steve is going to have the speed, the power advantage, the youth. He might get hurt by Qatar, but what happens in round 2? What happens in round 3? When Steve goes rabies and just comes at him. And Steve has knocked out durable guys before. Like I might have already said that. Knocked out Chepe Mariscal as well. And that was, you can argue that was an early stoppage, but he still got him out of there. He's hurt him multiple times before getting him out of there. So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm going to pivot. I haven't done too much tape. I just taped a couple of fights. And straight away, I'm like, I don't like Qatar as some of my friends do as much. I will say the under 1.5 rounds plus 130. I mean, if, Garcia is chinny and he can kill anyone. And when's the last time we had plus money on a Steve Garcia under 1.5 rounds? So, again, he killed Chepe under 1.5. So that's where I'm at. SD, I'm telling you all, grab Garcia minus 130. Mate, he's pick him now. Why would you play at minus 130? That makes no sense. Saying Garcia is a lock is crazy to me. I think Qatar is live to take over 2-3. Garcia wins are not great. Pre-puberty Hooper doesn't count. Mate, that's being very selective. That's the same Hooper. It's the same shit. You just don't want to accept that Hooper is very hittable and Steve Garcia beats the shit out of him. Morgan being 5-10 in decisions with 9-15 of them being split. Yeah, that's the thing. The guy is very, very stupid. He has a stupid style, but he's very talented. Nate 3-3 for splits would be a good sign for Nate decision. Hometown cooking with big moments. Who has Nate had a split with? I thought all these. Where the hell are we? I thought most of his fights were clean. Yeah, I don't really know. You talking about splits that happened freaking before UFC? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Jake N123, Sherdog represent. Let's go, Jake. Thanks for listening, mate. I'm trying to keep active on Sherdog, but it's just a lot of people are gone. Not many people to talk to on there. You guys talking about 2-3, lol, this shit not going to rounds 2 and 3. Steve going to fight for that under. I mean, exactly. Do we see Steve sticking and moving? But even then, I said, Steve doesn't have bad cardio. Steve has been hurt in round 1 and came on like a rabies, like a man possessed, and mauled someone in round 2. The guy doesn't slow down. I haven't checked odds in a few days. Garcia's pick him now. Sheesh. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like pivoting. We'll see. All right, Stephen Thompson, Gabriel Bonfim. The only thing I like here, honestly, is the under 2.5 rounds. It feels like they're really setting up Stephen Thompson with a guy that's young, explosive, has power, and he just loves submitting people. And now they're giving, Stephen Thompson. Here's a guy that will sell out for the submission. Good luck. Now I've taped it today extensively because, it's one of the main totals that's sticking out to me, other than ones that I've already played. And I'm like, yeah, I can see it. The only reason I haven't locked it in yet is I'm thinking maybe the sub is better. Could Bonfim sub be better? I mean, that's the obvious thing. When he gets taken down, he's got a very good takedown defense against the cage. And when you take him down in the middle, he also scoots back to the cage. So it's like Bonfim needs to take advantage of that. But against Chaos Williams, man, the way he got to the back, shuck him down to the back, very impressive stuff. You know, if you try hold on to a whizzer or onto his neck, he's going to lock that Van Prue choke so quickly. You can't mess around with him. I think Stephen Thompson, when you actually get him down, he gets exposed. But it's just the initial takedown defense is very good. He's also going to stay very patient and very evasive. He's very fast on the feet, which might frustrate Bonfim. We might get a bit of a staring match. So that's why I haven't locked in the under just yet. But I do think, you know, how good is Bonfim inside the distance going to be? He's a $1.20 favorite. Maybe the under at 2.5 is better, even though I don't give Stephen Thompson that much finishing upside. But he's hurt people. He's hurt Trailblazer before. Like, he's hurt Luke. He's fought some durable guys like Jeff Neal. So how likely is he going to finish them? You know, he really should have finished Gilbert Burns and Joaquin Buckley. These are chinny dudes, but he couldn't really land anything clean. I think he's more just concerned about not getting taken down these days. I do think Gabriel Bonfim can knock him out as well. Bonfim has a lot of power. He's a great boxer if he lets his hands go, but he's a bit hittable himself. So under 2.5 rounds or the sub, but we'll see. I'm not going to force this one just yet because I could see a lot of patience. I could see a lot of running away from Stephen Thompson. Like, Buckley has just got him out of there with 13 seconds to go on the under. And, yeah, we'll see. But he has now been deaded twice by Pettis and by Buckley. So he's getting up there. He's 42. He's getting killed more often. He's been hurt a lot. You know, I remember Tyron Woodley almost put him out with one punch. He's getting submitted more frequently. Yeah. Yep. Under 2.5 a pass. And Derek Lewis, Taliesin Teixeira. I like Taliesin minus 200. Obviously, the world likes him, and they've all played it, and now the line is gone a bit. And I just feel like, you know, the general consensus will be, volatile fight. Dana White, contender series guy. He's hittable. They're giving him the Derek Lewis test. Usually these guys get overhyped, and Derek Lewis knocks him out. But, you know, I just can't look at the fact that when Derek Lewis fights an elite striker, someone good, you know, like a Pavlovich or like a Volkov, he knocked out Volkov, but Volkov was beating the shit out of him in round one. Whoever else, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he got knocked out by Tafa in round two, which is a red flag. That's probably the last good win Tafa had. Spivak ran through him. Yeah, that's the thing. Junior Dos Santos ran through him. I watched Junior Dos Santos. It took freaking Mark Hunt 4 rounds, but he ran through him as well. So I don't know. I just feel like Taliesin should just really be able to knock him out if he just fights smart, right? You can argue that he didn't really respect the bum that he fought on Contender Series. That's why he was so hittable. But, you know, with Derek Lewis, you would think he knows who he's getting in the cage with. It's Derek Lewis, right? The most knockouts in UFC history. So, yeah, I like that money line, and I thought, you know, if he could also do it outside of round one, because Derek Lewis traditionally just slows down massively. You know, he fought Nascimento. I played him there. It was a sweaty fight. That was more than a year ago, and now he's coming back, and now he's 40, even older. Yeah, it just made sense to play the young guy. The young guy that's 6'7", he can kill you at any moment. But because the line was gone, I just played the under 1.5 rounds. I played it for 1.5 units. You know, 500, that's the limit on BetOnline, which for me is 750 Australian, 1.5 units. I'm a little bit hesitant, right? This whole card is set up for violence, right? I think because last time they were in Nashville, horrible event. And just UFC in general, not much violence. So, you know, they got the whole freaking, you know, 9 first-round finishes for Lewis, 8 for Teixeira. It's like, it's obvious. It just kind of reminds me of Malik, Cody Brundage, which is still, I still feel it in my heart, that under. And then I've got other unders. You know, I played Petrino. I'm thinking about Steven Wonderboy, Gabriel Bonfim. I'm kind of relying on Junior Tafa to finish. Tokkos under to avoid the sweat. I'm just like, well, we're all expecting violence on this card, but will it go according to plan? Is it a trap? And you got like other Lewis fights, you know, Ngannou, and they just end up sparring. You know, the Almeida fight survives 5 rounds in bottom mount. A lot of dodgy shit happened in Derek Lewis fights, And then he's a massive underdog against Rogerio de Lima, a very durable guy that could have lit him up with calf kicks and taken him down and could have knocked him out on the feet. And with his job on the line, Derek Lewis comes out with a flying knee and knocks out the most durable guy in the UFC in 33 seconds. It's like weird, volatile shit happens in Derek Lewis fights, right? But generally, this under 1.5 rounds should be the play, should be the lock. It's actually better than minus 200 now, but I played it when it was minus 200 and just bounced back up, and I can't re-add on BetOnline. So that's, under 1.5 rounds. It should correlate with Talishan Teixeira. It should give Derek Lewis a little bit of finishing upside. If, Teixeira goes into round 2, will he be gassed? It's really impossible to tell. He's gone to a decision in modified rules kickboxing. I don't know if that fight's even available. But he seems like a very composed guy. Like, he doesn't use a lot of energy. So, under 1.5 rounds, no brainer. We'll see if another fix is in. But, that's where we're at. So, a couple of bets, a lot in advance. So, I have Junior Tafa, 2 units. I like heavyweight, all the youth, all the finishing upside. Scary bet. People are already telling me how shit the bet is, but we'll see. Petrino under 1.5 rounds. I think he's just live to just murk Austin Lay with one punch. Calvin Qatar, Garcia. I'm leaning the under 1.5 rounds, or maybe Garcia. We'll see. Again, it's quite volatile. And Stephen Thompson, Bonfim, I'm leaning the under there as well. And Derek Lewis, Teixeira, I have the under there as well. So I don't like having this many unders. I'm more confident when I have a lot of money lines personally. But early in the week, we'll see where we go. Glimbot, thanks. Big chat. Big Steve in chat. No worries, my friend. Like and subscribe. Big boxing week. ACA. This is the beginning of a much better second part of the year. Right. So peace out. Thanks for listening.